Hello, welcome to another video from EarnPed.com. I'm Stevie B, happy to have you all with me today here at Zychion Citadel, the place where it all started all those years ago. As you can see, I just got 2.3363 quickness skills from dying by a mulciber. Now I'm going to do it again to get it on video for you guys. I had to stop the video a while ago. I got interrupted. But we're going to do some good old school Zychion skilling today, because I want to prove to people that this still works in 2023 and moving forward. And I also want to talk about why it works and a little bit about what I've learned about this particular game mechanic since I started playing, since I am probably one of the leading experts on this particular game mechanic. So, as most of you know, this is Zychion Remastered. I started my career in Entropia by doing this for 6 months straight. I did nothing but come here and die at the hands of these mulcibers over and over and over. If you've ever read Superman Doomsday, I was the equivalent of Doomsday. I just died over and over and over, probably an estimated 250,000 times by best estimates. Probably a world record by most guesstimates. I never shot a gun, never dropped a mining probe. 6 straight months of just researching the game and dying at the hands of these mulcibers over and over and over to get my defense skills up. And to this day, I hear people say, well, Zychion doesn't work anymore. It just doesn't work anymore. Yeah, it does. I'm level 55, and on my second death, my first death I got 0 points. Second death I got 2.3363 points. Third death got nothing. So let's go for death number 4 and let's see what happens here. And I will explain why people have this attitude. I will explain why we have this problem. And you guys are seeing it live. So 4 deaths and only 1 of them awarded points. And this is the reason I think, in fact I know it's the leading reason people say that Zychion doesn't work. It's that they simply aren't willing to put in the time. They want to come here and die once and be a level 55 evader. That's not how it works. That is not how it works at all. This requires hundreds of thousands of deaths, tens of thousands of deaths, before you see anything resembling real results. And it really irks me whenever I hear people say, oh, well, Zychion doesn't work. Well, how long did you do it? Well, 5 minutes. Okay, well, I did it for 6 straight months. So when you do it for 6 straight months, you can come back and tell me that it doesn't work. Then I'm still going to say that you're stupid and you didn't do it right. Because this, at its base, is a built-in game mechanic. This is no different than going and flying a mothership through a giant mob ball in space and having them attack the mothership. The only difference is I've only got like 280 HP versus a mothership that's got structural integrity of, 1,000,000 structural integrity points and can take a real beating from, 5 dozen mobs for 20 minutes. That's the only difference. The game mechanic works exactly the same way in both scenarios. So let me explain the game mechanic. Now, I don't know exactly how this game mechanic is programmed, but I'm going to tell you guys what I do know so that you guys can try and take advantage of it and use it to your advantage regardless of what you're doing in game. Hopefully you can take this information and run with it. So we know that mobs only have a certain amount of sweat that they give out. The way you determine how much sweat a mob is going to give out before it goes dry is its HP. So if it's got 20 HP, the mob's got 20 sweat that you can collect. If it's got 5,000 HP, it's got 5,000 sweat that you can collect. Well, in the same way, all mobs give out a certain amount of skills before they quote-unquote go dry. Once the mob has given out the max skills it's going to give out, then just like a mob that you're sweating, it's going to go dry. It will give out no more skills after that. The amount of skills the mob is going to give out is not determined in point value. It's determined in TT value. This is why if me at level 55 goes up against the exact same mob as you at level 0, you're going to get a lot more points a lot more often. I'm going to get a lot less points a lot less often. However, the TT value is the same. It's the fact that my points are already naturally higher, which is why I'm going to get them less often. And when I do, they're going to be in smaller amounts. What might get you 3 points each of 5 different skills might get me 0.001 evade. But it's the same TT value. The difference is brand new account versus higher level account, right? This is why you're seeing I got the one award for quickness of 2.3363, and I've got nothing since. It's because in order to give me any of the other defense skills, it would have to it's going to have to be a very, very, very small award if it's any of the other defense skills. If it's quickness, it'll give me a decent amount, but that's only because I just recently unlocked quickness, so I don't have it built up yet. Therefore, a very small TT amount of quickness goes a long way. A very small TT amount of quickness can result in 2 to 3 points for me, whereas that same amount in evade might be 0.0001 evade. So that's why you see the discrepancy in the point values. The TT value is the same. Now, this works not just when you're dying over and over, but when you're hunting. When you're hunting, you will notice that the mob is going to give you a certain amount of skills, and then it's essentially going to go dry. A lot of the other skills that you're going to be getting while you're hunting are going to be from the decay on the weapon and the armor and the stuff like that, and the amount that you're cycling. But you will get a small amount of skills from the mob itself, not just from the decay, not just from the cycling. Now, after the mob does go dry, you can swap these mobs out. And if you know where the spawn points are, this is something you would want to do. The problem is people swap them out thinking they're dry far too quickly. If you notice, I haven't tried to pull this to the turret yet, even though I've gone through several death cycles where I haven't gotten any point awards since I started shooting the video, because it might not be dry yet. And this is a big problem people have, is they'll get a Mulciber, they won't get any points, and after 2 or 3 attempts, they give up, they turret it, and they have it respawn, they start over, and then they go through 2 or 3 attempts, no points, so they take it to the turret and have it respawn, start over. They're turreting it far too quickly. It's not dry yet. You typically have to take it much further than you think before it goes dry for real. And then if you can get it to that point, if you can kind of guess when that point is, then you can start cycling them out so that the respawn points stick, and so that you never run out of Mulcibers. I've done quite a few deaths now without getting points. I still have a hard time believing this one is dry. Maybe it is, but I have a very hard time believing that. I'm starting to believe it, I just don't believe it yet. But the reason this game mechanic works is because it's a fundamental game mechanic. It's built into all mobs. It's just more obvious when you're using a single Mulciber. It's more obvious when you're on a mothership and you've got 80 mobs attacking you at one time, and they're doing it for 20 minutes straight, and you can just sit there and watch it go by on the screen without killing you. It's a fundamental game mechanic built into the game. There's just not a lot of good ways to take advantage of it. If there were good ways to take advantage of it, we could all be level 9 bajillion evader by tomorrow. If there was a way to spawn the husk every 10 seconds, the highest level mob in game, and there was a revive terminal, 80 meters away, then you could be exceedingly high level, because the husk would give out a ton of skills. But the husk is so hard to summon, so expensive to summon, it's not even free, and so far from a revive, it would make this impossible to do on something like the husk. Mulciber is just a kind of perfect storm of being able to take advantage of this game mechanic in an obvious way near a revive. They just happen to accidentally make this doable. Now, I will be the first to admit that now that we have Codex in game, this is probably a skilling event from a bygone era. We probably really don't have a need for this anymore because of Codex. So even before Codex, the reason that you would want to do this was because you were too low level to even go get on a mothership. If you could get on a mothership and become a captain that could fly it, then flying a mothership was obviously preferable to dying here at Zychion, which is what a lot of players did for a very long time. But if you were too low level to even do that, this was a great way to pass the time in-game while also researching the game. And I think this is a key component that people leave out. I didn't just spend 6 months at Zychion dying. I spent 6 months at Zychion dying while actively researching the game the entire time. That is where my initial knowledge base of Entropia came from, was just hundreds and hundreds of hours of researching things on the wiki or on the internet or just Googling things endlessly. I wasn't just doing this. So this was a more or less passive thing I was doing while I was actively researching the game. Now, that being said, it was super beneficial back then because we had the old Iron Mission system, and sometimes you would have to go 5,000, 10,000 kills before you could claim a reward. Nowadays with Codex, the great thing about Codex is it allows us to get our rewards more incrementally. We can finish ranks rather quickly, especially at the lower ranks below rank, let's say 15, and we can get 15 skill rewards versus back in the day you might have to go 5,000 kills in an old kill count mission for an iron mission before you could get a single reward. So that allows us to skill more incrementally with Codex, which allows us to skill more quickly, see our progress more quickly, and thereby grow our skills and our professions much faster than we used to be able to do. So in a world where Codex exists, there's really no reason to come to Zychion to do this anymore. You can still do it if you're bored or if you need something to do passively in game. I will still do it whenever I unlock a new skill, like the fact that I unlock Quickness is why I'm even here. I happen to be on Calypso resupplying before heading back out, and since I've unlocked Quickness, I might as well take a few points off some Mulcibers while I'm at it, because every point matters, right? Now, the truth of the matter is at this point in my career, this is kind of a giant waste of my time. If I really want to grow my Quickness exceedingly fast by taking points out of mobs like Mulcibers, then what I will do is I will just go get on a mothership and I'll do some repair skilling. I'll fly the ship, and as I fly the ship and it gets attacked by dozens and dozens of mobs, I'll get free skill points off of them. And then whenever I get the ship damaged, I'll just pull out my repair tools and I'll go repair the ship, and I'll get even more skills that way. So if I really wanted to spend some time growing my Quickness, since I've recently unlocked it, then I would just go spend some time doing some mothership skilling. The reason I wanted to come here today and show you this today is to show you that yes, it does work. Now, I've gotten quite a few deaths since starting, and unfortunately have not gotten a skill reward. Unfortunately, the skill reward that I did get, that 2.3363, was right before I started recording. I actually was recording but got interrupted. But needless to say, the reason it works is this is a game mechanic. Now, how can you take advantage of this is up to you. This mechanic goes much deeper than I'm saying. And there are a lot of OG players and higher level players that are watching this video that know what I'm getting at. If you pick the right mob, it might change the outcome of the skills that you get. Some mobs might give more skills than others. Not all mobs are created equal, so not all skills that you get from mobs are going to be created equal, and it might not be totally random. There might be a way to analyze the mob and figure out which mobs are going to give more skills. If that's something you're interested in and you want to go down that rabbit hole, more power to you. But I'm going to leave it there on the fact of, yes, it does still work. Now, do I still advocate doing this? No, I really don't. Reason being is, yes, when I did it, there was a reason, but like I said, we have Codex. And between Codex and mothership skilling, there is really no reason to come to Zychion and do this anymore, unless you're doing it as a fun pastime, which is what I tend to do it as. Like I said, if I unlock a new skill, I'll come spend an hour or two at Zychion, and then I'll just go jump on a mothership, and I'll go do some real skilling out in space. But I wanted to make the video to show you guys that it can still be done. It does still work, and it is at its base level a base game mechanic. And that is the important thing to remember. The important thing is not that you can die from Mulcibers and get skills from it. The important thing is that it's a game mechanic and understanding the ways that it functions and how it functions. And if you can really get a deep, knowledgeable understanding of that, then it will help you with mob selection later on. And when you get into the higher levels of the game, mob selection becomes incredibly, incredibly important. Obviously, we want to always be going after markup. Obviously, that's a big factor, but there can be other factors also. Exceedingly rare loots can be a factor in mob selection, as can mission chains, mission rewards, but also skill rewards can be a big factor when picking your mob. So I'm going to call this Zychion Remastered. Yes, Zychion does still work. Yes, you can still come here and skill. If you unlock a new skill specifically tied to defense, then maybe it might be worth a couple of hours to come and hang out and die at the hands of some mulsibers. But the bigger thing is, in a world where we have Codex, in a world where we have motherships, there's really not a need for this anymore, but understanding the game mechanic itself is still exceedingly important. I still see new players that will come to Zychion and spend a couple of days here, dying over and over and over to get their defense up fairly quickly early on. Because fairly early quickly on, even a small amount of TT value from skill rewards can result in multiple points. That same 2.3363 points of quickness that I got, the TT value of that, if I converted that to evade, it would give me like 0.001 evade points. But it got me 2 1/3 points of quickness, which is not bad. So I wanted to make this video for multiple reasons, I guess to prove to people that it does still work, to explain the game mechanic behind it, and to explain that it really is probably from a bygone era, and I would probably be better served just going and hopping on a mothership and taking it out on a quick run, doing some repair skilling for a few hours and calling it a day. Okay, so like right there, 0.0322 experience in evade. So that's not even quickness, that's the actual evade skill itself. So guys, if I'm level 55 and I can get evade skills out of these things, you can do it. I promise you, if I can do it at 55, you can do it at whatever level you are. It just takes some effort. It takes sticking with it. Now, if you notice, I did change it up. I did go from the mulsibers that were over there that, in all reality, that one closest to us probably is really dry. I've probably been wasting my time on it, to this one over here. But guys, if I can get it to give up evade points at my level, then I promise you, you guys can make it give it up at your level too. It's just a matter of sticking with it. And in Entropia, that's a big thing too. That's a big reason I wanted to make this video, is people don't understand Entropia is a very grindy game. You grind and you grind and you grind and you grind some more, and when your eyes bleed out of your head, you're just getting started, and when they're completely gone and there's just sockets where your eyes used to be, that's a really good starting point. And that is Entropia at its finest. It never gets less grindy. It only gets more grindy as you go. And if you can't be dedicated to 20 to 30 minutes at Zychion, you're going to have a really, really hard time with this game. This game requires dedication, and it requires you to have some weird, perverse joy that comes from a grind that only gets worse as you go. It's almost a form of self-torture sometimes to grind out this game. But so is going to the gym. When you think about it, when you go to the gym, you're going to inflict physical distress on your body to get a result that you want. Well, this is more or less the same thing. It's that same kind of instinct of putting yourself through something unpleasant to get a reward that is very pleasing. So I wanted to make this video for a number of reasons. I hope you guys have at least found it entertaining, maybe even gleaned a couple of facts related to game mechanics and mob selection out of it. But if you're a new player in 2023, yes, you can come to Zychion, you can do this. And you know what, if you want to spend a couple hours doing it, feel free. It's a good time. You can make it fun. If you're going to do that, please stay away from the high-level robots, because they have a huge aggravation range, and once you make them angry, they will just shoot anybody in sight. If you see a high-level hunter here hunting, please be courteous and stay out of their way. And go into it knowing that this is something that you might do every now and then for fun, but it's really from a bygone era. You would be better served just going and banging out some Codex, getting some skill rewards from Codex that relate to your evade skill and your defense professions, and then going and getting on a good mothership crew. Do some repair skilling to unlock blueprint comprehension, get your skills up that way, and get to where you can pilot a mothership. And by piloting a mothership, you will naturally get a lot of defense skills. I love piloting a mothership because I get avoidance. Now I'm going to get quickness out of it. I love repairing it for the serendipity that I get. So even though you can come do this, and even though you might find it enjoyable, remember to be courteous. Remember to stay away from the high-level robots and stay out of other players' ways, especially if they're hunting. And just know that there are other ways you can accomplish this same thing. So I'm not going to waste a lot of time here. I'm going to wrap the video up. I just wanted to do this more or less to get that information out there for you guys and for old time's sake, because it's been so long since I've been able to come do this and do it effectively. And I'm going to head out into the universe. I've got a lot of content to shoot on Next Island, Tulun, Arcadia, and Cyrene, as well as other planets. And I am going to be spending some time on the mothership. I need to do some repair skilling. I want to keep growing my crafting skills. I want to keep growing my defense skills, and I can do that from repairing and flying. So I'm going to leave it there for today. Sip, sip, smack, smack. Y'all know the rest. Head over to earnped.com, because when you earn, we earn. It's by far the best way you guys can help support us. Simply use the links on earnped.com to go to hideout.tv. Hideout will automatically add us as a redemption option for your hideout points. Guys, please do as the banner says at the bottom of the screen. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon. You've only got to do it once. It's absolutely free. It takes a half a second. And when you do, that keeps you up to date with all the newest content that we put out. That keeps you up to date with everything going on in Entropia, all the opportunities that are out there, all the newest information we can get out to you guys as fast as we can get it out. And it helps you learn how to play smarter, not harder. And guys, please hit the like button. When you hit the like button, it helps us combat the haters and the trolls that are out there. And it seems that more haters and more trolls pop up every single day. So we rely on the Stevie Army to hit that like button to help us combat them. But guys, you deserve to know the impact you're having. You deserve to know that when you hit those buttons, woo, 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 1.3326 quickness. See, still works. You guys deserve to know the impact you're having. You guys deserve to know that when you hit those buttons, you put us on the right side of the YouTube algorithm. And when you do that, YouTube starts showing our videos to more people, specifically people it knows are into PC games, MMOs, and real cash economy games. And we're getting more messages from people every week saying, hey, would you please tell your supporters and your viewers the kind of impact that they're having? I was just hanging out on YouTube one day, and I saw one of your videos pop up, and I'd never heard of Entropia Universe before, but I started watching your video, I started watching the channel, and I downloaded the game. I went to Camp Icarus. I went to North Swamp Camp. Now I'm out exploring the universe. Now this is my hobby. Now it's my passion. Now I'm part of the community. Now I'm part of the economy. And it's all because your subscribers hit that bell icon. It's all because they hit that subscribe button. It's all because they hit that like button on every single video. And I really appreciate it, because Entropia is a huge part of my life now. And you guys deserve to know that we're getting those emails. You guys deserve to know the impact you're having, not just on the game, not just on my channel, not just on helping me out, but on sharing this game, this hobby, this passion of ours with the world, with other people who are finding Entropia Universe for the first time, or the first time in a long time, because of you guys. So guys, please keep it up. We appreciate all the support. We appreciate all that you're doing to help share this game with others, and know that you guys are making a huge difference. So guys, I'll leave it there for today. I'm going to go hop on a mothership and do some real skilling. Till next time, sip, sip, smack, smack. Y'all know the rest. Take care, Stevies.